President Biden spoke with Ukrainian President Zelensky, congratulating him on Ukraine's Independence Day and reaffirming American support amid this Russian invasion. The call comes as Ukrainian officials continue to report more people being killed, this time in a Russian missile strike on a train station in eastern Ukraine. It has now been 6 months since the start of this war, and still no end in sight. But there are humanitarian efforts going on from organizations like UNICEF, where a lot of families have been able to get the help that they need. But it hasn't been easy. And the United Nations is now estimating that more than 6.8 million refugees have fled the country since the war began. For more, let's bring in James Elder from UNICEF. We have been talking with him since the beginning of this invasion. James, many a times talking to you on the side of the road as you've been in country helping people and helping families. And let's just talk about yesterday and what it means to you, the people of Ukraine. It was their Independence Day, but it was hard to celebrate because still the air raid sirens were going. Kyiv was hearing the gunshots. Tell us what it's been like there within the Independence Day, but also facing everyday violence still.
Well, exactly, Kira. Hi. Yeah, yesterday was an eerie silence. The first thing I did in the morning was go down to Independence Square. Should have been a carnival-like atmosphere. There was almost no one there. You could hear a pin drop, but of course, then you would hear air raid sirens, and the few people around would leave. That's a normality now for people. Unfortunately, as you say, so is then later in the day when people thought, have we actually got through our Independence Day? No celebrations, but have we got through it without more children and civilians being killed? And then we saw the answer to that. 2 more children killed, cities across the front line shelled. Those 2 children, that's more parents who will be consumed by grief forever. On Monday, I saw another little boy who was struggling for life, having been hit by a cluster bomb. It's hard to kind of convey what that looks like for a little boy. 15-year-old girl I saw who didn't make it, day in, day out. Kira, mass displacements, killings, endless destruction of a conflict that children bear the brunt of, and we don't see an end in sight.
So how do you put that in perspective? I mean, this is your 4th trip to Ukraine since the start of this war. And what I'm hearing from you now is the same type of situation for children and families. So what do you need to just keep your efforts going? Where are you finding the most difficulties right now?
Yeah, I think the perspective, the thing that energizes is 2 things, very candidly. One is every time you talk to a Ukrainian, that hospital I spoke of with that little boy who was fighting for life from the cluster bomb, the head of the hospital, a doctor, a counsellor, she's a mother of 2, her husband's on the front line, but there she is. Just matter of fact, this is what I do. I've seen and met hundreds of people like that, so they're inspiring, and there are thousands I haven't met. And then, of course, after 6 months, UNICEF has reached sort of 4 million people, Kira, with medical equipment, millions more with safe water, 500,000 with cash because businesses are literally being blown up. So those things are critical. We have a massive supply, we have people around the country, but we have problems with access because, again, these indiscriminate attacks in civilian areas make it very difficult to get aid to people. More importantly, or beyond that, they make it very difficult to operate because, you're putting aid workers and children on the front line.
So when you hear about President Biden announcing now another $3 billion in new military aid, in a new military aid package, what's your reaction?
Well, Kira, look, I'm a humanitarian, so the military side, I just wish someone would tell me there was an end in sight. That's every Ukrainian friend I've made wishes they'd hear there was an end in sight. From a humanitarian point of view, UNICEF will be here, whether it's like 11 years into Syria or Yemen or now 6 months into Ukraine. We will be here as long as children need us. I hope so much that, this is resolved, and it can only, I guess, be resolved somewhere at a negotiating table. Next week, we get kids back into school. I know that's all they want. They want some normalcy. So, the world is watching and waiting. At the same time, Kira, we've got we're training teachers on emergency first aid, what to do if your school gets bombed. I mean, this is so critical, but insane, but this is what children are living through.
Well, what else is critical is your hands-on help, which you are doing every day. James Elder with UNICEF. James, appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Kira.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.